Good morning, students. In today's lecture, we will discuss Plancherel's theorem related to Fourier transforms. The statement of the theorem is, let u is a function belonging to intersection of the function spaces L1Rn and L2Rn. Rn is n-dimensional real Euclidean space. Then we have to prove that Fourier transform of the function u and inverse Fourier transform of the function u both belongs to the function space L2Rn, and also the norm of Fourier transform of u, norm of inverse Fourier transform of u, and the norm of function u. All the three are same on the space L2Rn. Now to prove this theorem, let us take epsilon greater than 0 and we define a function v by taking epsilon in the base. This is a function of x. Let us define it by e raised to the power minus epsilon x mod square. Now let us find the Fourier transform of this function. So by the formula for Fourier transform, this is given by 1 upon 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into integral e raised to the power minus iota x dot y into the function v epsilon. This integral is over n-dimensional real Euclidean space. Now substituting the value of this function, which is e raised to the power minus epsilon x mod square. Now this term can be written as, because the base is same, so the powers can be added. So this term will become e raised to the power minus iota x dot y minus epsilon x mod square. Now the value of this integral is pi upon epsilon raised to the power n by 2 into e raised to the power minus y mod square upon 4 epsilon. So finally, the Fourier transform of the function v epsilon becomes 1 upon 2 epsilon raised to the power n by 2 into e raised to the power minus y mod square upon 4 epsilon. Now, yesterday we discussed the property that for epsilon greater than 0, the integral of product of Fourier transform of w with the function v epsilon over n-dimensional real Euclidean space. This is same as the integral of product of the functions w and Fourier transform of the function v epsilon. Substituting the value of function v epsilon and its Fourier transform, so we get the equation given by integral over Rn Fourier transform of w into e raised to the power minus epsilon y mod square is equal to integral of w into the value of Fourier transform of v epsilon is 1 upon 2 epsilon raised to the power n by 2 into e raised to the power minus x mod square by 4 epsilon. So we have substituted the value. Now let us multiply and divide by 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 on the right side and taking limits as epsilon approaches to 0. Now here, as epsilon approaches to 0, this term will become 1. So left side will become integral of Fourier transform of w at the point y over n-dimensional real Euclidean space. On the right hand side, as we take limit as epsilon approaches to 0, this expression will become the value of w at 0, because the integral of fundamental solution of heat equation over the n-dimensional real Euclidean space, that is 1. So finally, the integral of Fourier transform of function w over the n-dimensional real Euclidean space, that is given by 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into value of w at 0. From here we can find the value of w at 0 by shifting this term to the left side. So we have obtained value of function w at 0, that is given by 1 upon 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into integral of Fourier transform of w over n-dimensional real Euclidean space. Now we will use this equation later. Now let us take a function v, which is a function of x defined by u conjugate at minus x, and let us define w as a convolution of u and v. U is a function which is given belonging to the intersection of the function spaces L1 Rn and L2 Rn. Now because w is convolution of u and v, so by definition of convolution, this is given by integral over Rn u at y into v at x minus y. Now taking Fourier transform of w, from here we get Fourier transform of function w is equal to the Fourier transform of convolution of u and v. Yesterday we discussed the property, the Fourier transform of convolution of u and v, that is given by 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into Fourier transform of u into Fourier transform of v. Now let us find the Fourier transform of v by the formula Fourier transform of v at y. This is given by 1 upon 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into integral of e raised to the power minus iota x dot y into v at x. This integral is over the n-dimensional real Euclidean space. Now substituting the value function v, which we defined here, so putting the value of the function v, we can see that this expression is the complex conjugate of Fourier transform of function u at y. So we have obtained Fourier transform of the function w is equal to 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into Fourier transform of u into complex conjugate of Fourier transform of u. Now any function multiplied with its complex conjugate, that becomes the square of modulus of the function. So Fourier transform of u into the complex conjugate of Fourier transform of u, that becomes the square of mod of Fourier transform of u. So finally we have obtained Fourier transform of w is equal to 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into the square of mod of Fourier transform of u. Now we already obtained the value of function w at 0. This is 1 upon 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into integral of Fourier transform of w at y. Now substituting the value of Fourier transform w from here, this is 2 pi raised to the power n by 2 into the square of mod of Fourier transform of u. Now these terms are cancelled out, so we get the value of w at 0 is equal to integral of the square of mod of Fourier transform of function u at y. Now by definition, the function w is the convolution of u and v. Convolution of u and v means the integral of u at y into v at x minus y dy. This integral is over Rn. Putting x is equal to 0 here, we get value of w at 0, which becomes integral over Rn u at y into v at minus y. Now the function v we had defined by v at x is equal to the complex conjugate of function u at minus x. So putting x is equal to minus y here, this will become the complex conjugate of u at y. Putting here, now u into u bar, that will become u mod square. So we have obtained this value. Also the value of w at 0 is integral over Rn, the square of mod of Fourier transform of u. Putting the value here, we get integral over Rn of the square of mod of Fourier transform of u is equal to integral over Rn of square of mod of u. Now because u belongs to the function space L to Rn, so by definition the norm of u on this function space will be finite. And from here, because these two expressions are equal, so if the norm of function u on the space L to Rn is finite, the norm of function u cap will also be finite. So by definition, we can say that Fourier transform of u belongs to the function space L to Rn. And also from the equation star, we can see that the square of norm of Fourier transform of u on the function space L to Rn, that is same as the square of norm of function u on the space L to Rn. Taking square root on both sides, we can say that norm of Fourier transform of the function u and norm of the function u on the function space L to Rn are equal. Similarly, we can prove the result for the inverse Fourier transforms. We can prove the inverse Fourier transform of the function u belongs to the function space L to Rn. And also the norm of this inverse transform is same as the norm of u on the function space L to Rn. So we can combine the two equations and we can say that the norm of Fourier transform of function u, norm of inverse Fourier transform of u, and norm of function u, all the three are same on the function space L to Rn. So this completes the proof of Plancherel's theorem.